In 1963, a gentleman by the name Samuel Wamala, together with his other colleagues from the engineering department at KCCA, got this fantastic idea to start up a football club called KCCA then, now called KCCA Football Club right now. Fast forward 2023, 60 years later, as KCCA FC celebrates its 60th birthday, we've got new leadership for the football club. I'm very pleased and humbled today because I'm joined by the leader of that new leadership. I'll let him introduce himself and then his titles, because I don't want to mess up any, and then we take it on from there. So I'm very humbled and pleased to have you here with us today.
Thank you very much, Moses, for that brief intro. My name is Engineer Andrew Ssserunjogi Mukiibi. I belong to the Lugave clan. I'm a married man with a wife and children. I'm a holder of a bachelor's degree in civil engineering and a master's degree in civil engineering. Briefly, I worked in Magero University. I was the university engineer of Uganda Matters University in Kozi. And for the last 12 years, I've been at KCCA. Interestingly, in the Directorate of Engineering, where Samuel Wamala was at the time of starting this club. Out of work, I'm the head of the laity. I'm a churchman of St. Padre Pio Catholic Parish. Football, I've been a fan of KCCA. I love my Arsenal as a club as well, in the international scene. Socially, yes, I enjoy interacting with people like you, and I believe that's why I'm at the scene to come and fix things at this club. And I believe, being the second engineer coming on board to Wamala, our dream as engineering has to be fulfilled in my tenure at KCC.
He really must be a very proud gentleman, and I'm sure he's in the heavens. May his soul rest in peace. Quite very interesting that you come in on board from the same department, which is the engineering department that had the founder of this football club, the late Samuel Wamala. But we've also talked about the longevity of you as a staff at KCCA, that is Kampala Capital City Authority, the sole owner of KCCA Football Club, which is quite very important getting into a football club like KCCA Football Club, and also the fact that you're also a fan. First of all, congratulations for becoming the chairman board, KCCA Football Club. Like I already say, I'm humbled to have you here. It's not an everyday thing that you get to even interview the chairman of the football club. But we're happy to have you on board. First things first, how did you feel when you were told that you're going to become, or when you were appointed? Let's start from there. On a lighter note, before we get into the real thick of stuff.
First of all, before we go to the real issues, I have to be grateful to management of KCCA. To begin with the executive director, Madame Dorothy Chisaka. Then our political leader, in this case in the town, His Worship the Lord Mayor, and his entire executive, that thought and found it prudent that I should be the right candidate for this position. I don't want to preempt their thinking as to why they chose me, but I want to thank them for definitely having done their homework and groundwork very well, because it must have come from somewhere. I want also to thank the councillors that vetted me, and my colleagues who have supported me along the way at the helm, my board members, my colleagues. I'm sure they were behind the scenes interviews and vetting to confirm whether I would be the right candidate for the position. I really thank them, especially management of KCCA, for empowering me and really giving me a chance to serve at the helm of the club. It's not my first time to be in leadership. Like I've told you, I've been the head of the laity. In engineering, I had maintenance. I've been contract manager for several projects in KCCA. But I must say, my role as chairperson this time has been very exciting. I've got a lot of congratulatory messages from friends, and people were wondering, how can an engineer serve as a board chairman? I'm not the first one. Soccer Club Villa had, engineer who? Misaga. Many of us have come, and really we have done wonders. And I think it's now the time for engineers to disprove many of you that we can do this job very well. Because we also have the social fiber and social aspect in us. And besides, my leadership credentials, I don't think they are doubtable. I've been a man of the people. I've been very social, really. And I think I'm really excited to serve. It's going to be my first time to serve as a board member and at the helm of it. But I believe getting along with the few experienced colleagues, it's going to be an exciting experience, which we shall pull off.
Quite very interesting, because even the current president of the Federation of Uganda Football Association is
He's an engineer, yes.
That's quite interesting. We'll dive straight into the thick of things,
yeah.
And we'll start off with the vision and the strategy you have as the board chairman of KCCA FC, together with your entire leadership.
Thank you very much. As a board, we are yet to meet, but I've managed to interface with my colleagues and to get their views, their feelings about the club, and also to get more about the history that has been transpiring at the club. But first and foremost, my vision is to have a vibrant club that is capable of performing and winning trophies on the international and local stage. Because as one of the best local clubs that are heavily entrenched, even with government support, I believe we should not be looking at benchmarking with local tournaments. Our target is going to be much higher, and our vision is to raise the bar to have that vibrant club that is going to compete favorably at the continental stage. My strategy is very simple. One, I wish to have an all-inclusive and a participatory approach towards the game of football. That is my strategy. I want to enhance communication and the relationship between the fans and the executive. We need to see a participatory approach where the fans can come in and where the executive can come in to boost the club, build talent for the club, raise revenue for the club, and lastly, pull off the stadium. That stadium is going to speak volumes for us. Yeah.
Wow, quite very interesting, immediate vision and strategies that you have for the football club, but we'll also try to tackle your immediate goals. I'm sure that when every leadership is put into place, there is what they call the first 100 days. So for the new leadership, in your first 100 days, what are some of the things you feel that are going to be immediate? So much is going to happen during this time. The league is resuming this month. KCCA FC has got a shot at continental football, which we'll talk about more extensively a little bit later. That is CAF, and also so very many things. But what's going to be the first immediate things in your first 100 days as the new leadership?
Moses, that's very interesting. And what I find very, very encouraging is, one, I'm inheriting a club that is already taken off. My predecessors have done pretty a good job. I'm inheriting a club that has got pretty good support from some financial donors and so forth. I'm inheriting a club that has got a new coach of late. I'm inheriting a club that is already and participating at continental stage. 100 days, what is important now is first of all to know what are the low-hanging fruits that are in there, that are packaged in there. The little research I have done is that already, first of all, in the next 15 days, we have a match. We have a tournament. Among the low-hanging fruits is to concentrate our attention now on delivering on that continental stage. Because we must go to the group stages. We must go to the money stage, because that's where the money is. Those are the low-hanging fruits I'm looking at for now. Two is to consolidate the club. Make sure the internal divisions are not there. Make sure the conflicts that may have arisen through conflicting and competing priorities are sorted. If we can have that done in the 100 days, I'm sure we shall be on track. The other low-hanging fruit which I had, which I think is really, really, really strategic, is to embark on our new strategic plan. The strategic plan that we have is concluding this year, because it's ending in 2023. We want to embark on a strategy of having it revamped. The other low-hanging fruit, of course, is going to be ensuring that we have procurement for our new project phase 2 of the stadium underway. I believe in the next 3 months this can be achieved and we can be on track to get a contractor at least sourced by then. The other strategy I have with the board is to make sure that we have a consolidated work plan that is going to take us to the next level, readily approved by management of KCCA. Of course, if that can be sorted, then we shall be on track to start registering success when it comes to issues of delivering improved revenue and improved quality of the game. You asked me about the goals. The goals are 3, and I must be honest with you, they are 3. My first goal is going to be to pull off that stadium. Why the stadium? As an engineer, management found it prudent that it's the right time we get the right people to fix this. If this can be sorted, trust me, revenue for the club will be enhanced. If this can be sorted, then trust me, the continental approach towards the game is going to be changed. If we can have our own home, trust me, our own stadium, we are going to ensure we have better income coming into the club, which is going to make us attract better players. My second goal is to improve the quality of the game. And how am I going to do this? 1, we want to look at how we can enhance the junior team, how we can build on the junior talent, the young talent, to be able to feed into the bigger team. There have been challenges in promoting that, but FIFA has come out handy to support that drive, and we want to capitalize on that. If we can have the talent and the money to pay for the talent, then we're going to improve the quality of the game. And if the quality of the game can be improved, then we're going to win trophies. And if we win trophies, we are going to go to the continental stages of soccer, which will attract more money for the club. My third goal is to improve on the fan base. And this, of course, is going to be supported by my second goal, which is improving the quality of the game. Once the game is good, fans will find it interesting to come to the pitch. And once the fans come, it will attract sponsorship. And once we attract sponsorship, then we're going to create awareness for the club.
Absolutely.
And once that awareness is coming for the club, then trust me, the rest is going to be history for the club. Because with the fans and with the sponsorship, then we have the money to pay for the game.
True.
Then we have the capabilities of sustaining the players in the pitch. Yeah.
The fans will definitely love that. I mean, the stadium, they've always wanted the stadium to get completed. Definitely kudos to the previous board that has also ensured that the stadium is where it is right now. But you come in and say that's going to be one of your immediate goals to make sure that it is complete. Now you've talked about getting to the continental stage because that's where the big monies are. And I know that there are 3 arms when it gets down to football. That is football the game, football the business, and football the ecosystem. When I get to focus on football the business, which definitely has a lot of finances in there, the financial situation at the club currently, it is not at the worst, but it can get better. As the new leadership, what are some of the things that you want to put in place to make sure you enhance the current financial situation at the club so that the club can get into those brackets of the biggest football clubs that even KCCA FC has played at the continental level?
Thank you. Financials have been a challenge everywhere. And I'm sure all clubs in Uganda are suffering the same disease. But as KCCA, we should be a notch higher and better than all these other clubs. Why? First of all, we've got government support, which has come in handy to help us even start on our stadium. Now, you talked of financial and the business. In my preamble, I told you there are so many ways of doing this. One, and which is going to be the most important, qualifying for the group stages. That one, we have a sure base of revenue coming in. The second option would be, of course, in sustaining the quality of the players at international stages. And what are we looking at here? We've got a lot of talent. We've invested in the young talent in our academies. These guys have come out, they have played good football, but of late the biggest challenge you've seen, my brother, is having them maintained and sustained at international levels. And this has not augured well with us as a club and as a country. But we need to work with our colleagues in FUFA and see on how to develop the local talent by first of all getting to the grassroots. We need to devise means of developing our academies, right from the junior time clubs. If we can have that achieved successfully as KCCA, and even the junior league improved, trust me, we are going to reach a level where we have players who we can sell, who can compete favorably on the international scene, and also get us revenue to the club. Currently, we have Alan Okello, and of course, Mustafa Chiza, and others, to mention but a few, who have done us proud. They brought us good money to the club. But that's not enough, because as you're aware, sustaining them on the international scene has got its own challenges for them. The quality of the players that we put out there is wanting, because these are guys who came to football when they are way above the age of 15. They have developed the talent when they're in secondary school. They didn't have an opportunity to develop this talent right from when they were kids, 2 years to 6 years. Now, if we can get to those stages of having our own talent on the market, one, it's going to publicize the club. Two, it will create an avenue of where we can have promoters coming on board to fish us, to fish for players in our club, which will give us revenue. Then, of course, I mentioned earlier, the fan base is key. The fan base is key. If we can have a stable, growing fan base, trust me, it's going to attract sponsorship. And at this note, I wish to thank and commend our sponsors, MTN, Chint, Britam, and Blink Logistics, Century Cinemas, and many of you, technical people like you who have come on to support the club. Because these guys have brought in money to the club, not by accident, but of course they have looked at the fan base, and it's the numbers that really play the game in the money world. If you have the numbers, then I'll be able to come in to support you, because I also want to publicize what I offer, and I can only do that through the fan base. So if we can have a good fan base, even in the diaspora, have the club membership revived, people pay, I think this money is going to come to the club. Lastly, our stadium approach. It cannot be forgotten. With a completed stadium, trust me, we are going to attract revenue to the club. One, we are going to save money. We're going to cut costs. You know it very well, our next continental game, we are going to spend 100 million Uganda shillings for one game, which money may not be accrued in the collection, get collections. But if we have our stadium complete, this money is going to be saved. It's going to be saved at the club. Secondly, we are going to rent out the space. For conferences, we're going to rent out the space. For musical festivals, and this is going to be revenue for the club. So via revenue, as a board, we are really ready. We have the expertise, we've got the team. My colleagues are there, the accountants, we have auditors, we have got managers, people who have got the exposure to really take us to the next level. So trust me, with your cooperation, we are going to reach greater heights.
So Chairman, you talk about the fact that we have got to go to the continental stage where the big monies are, because that is the big stage, and that means KCCA FC going to the group stages. Now, going to that stage has a lot of things. First of all, players get exposed, because all these football clubs on the continent, even internationally, will be able to watch its players do perform. Now, I'll give an example. Before, KCCA FC has had players like Alan Okello, Steven Serada, Sadata Naku, Chiza Mustafa, to mention but a few, watched at the big stage. And what happened is the players got bigger offers from some of these clubs, some in Africa, some outside Africa. And big monies were offered to the football club. And I mean, how does a club like KCCA FC focus on maybe, or try to balance on retaining its best talent, and also like I said, striking a balance between retaining the best talent and also selling off, because the club has got to make revenue. It's going to be a little bit tough for an offer to come in for a player Y, and the player is going to get about $10,000 US. How does the club handle something like that? And also the youth development, because we know that half the current squad of KCCA FC, the current senior team, half the squad are graduates of the junior team. How is this enhanced and also strengthened to make sure that that conveyor belt keeps producing very good talent? So there are two questions there: the youth development and also retaining the best talent.
Thank you very much, Moses. That's a very good question, by the way. First of all, I want to commend Martin and his board for ensuring that, at least despite the challenges, they were capable of having 9 players coming from the youth team. That's really commendable, because if they can manage to do that with the challenges in the club, then I think we are going to get there. One, my strategy is one, developing youth talent. You all know it very well that in the value chain of soccer, in the game, you cannot sustain the senior team without a youth team. And it is very, very, very important. Now, we as a board, what are we looking at in this case, in developing this youth talent? We want to team up with all these schools. There is what we call the schools of excellence.
We have Chibuli SS there,
SS,
Masaka SS,
of course, St. Mary's.
Chibuli SS also.
Now, those schools, if we can team up with them and look at how we can attract sponsorship for this young talent and enhance the youth league, trust me, the conveyor will be self-sustaining. Because once you have the sponsorship, you have the talent there, you have the school leagues going on, then it is going to help us at our level now to make sure you support these people to get onto the local scene and eventually to the international stages. That is one of our strategies. Two, of course, we want to team up with FUFA and see how we can pilot these academies. Even if it is not our KCC academy, but how do we do it at national level? Can we have them set up regionally? Because talent is not only in Kampala, talent is even up country. How can we work together as governors of the sport to see how we can tap into that local talent at rural level, village level? Trust me, if we do that and attract sponsorship for them, I'm very sure the administration at KCCA will be very supportive to having our junior team develop that talent further. That is as far as the youth talent is concerned. Of course, there's so many youth programs going on. As a church leader, even the church has so many programs going on. We can team up with the church and see how we can really tap into that resources. There are also these Bika football tournaments, the Masaza. You can see how you can tap into that youth challenge. But of course, currently we are relying on schools. And if we can really enhance support for that, we can go better. Moses, the issue of player retention is really, really, really tickling my mind, because it is a serious challenge for me at the moment. You know it very well. I'm inheriting an indebted club, a club that needs the money. You know it very well that on the international and local scene, we are not paying our players very well. We are not playing players very well. So as a board, we need to strike a balance. And this is one of the key assignments I'm going to give to the technical team. Much as we want the money, how do we maintain stability at the club? Because you need to have a player playing for the club at least for 5 years before you dispose him off. Alan Okello didn't have that opportunity, I think, you may recall, because he came on board and of course he was tapped into. Now here we are, our players are going to have the exposure on the international scene. Now how do we protect the club's interests and the player interests? Between me and you, it is very difficult to deny somebody an opportunity. If someone is going to earn $10,000 and you're offering $1,200, everyone will say, you man, you're mean, you're not sensitive. And besides, how sure are you that that player will play after being denied such an opportunity? Because they will be purely demotivated. But going forward, we need the money. the players need to be enumerated better. Our player retention strategy number one is going to be first and foremost to see to it that we work on the welfare of the players. If a player can really feel he's appreciated locally, you can convince them to stay for 1 or 2 more years, because better opportunities will always come for as long as you are performing at the international levels, because you will be seen. How do you call, the promoters will be able to catch your talent and see you. So if we can play these people well, better, of course this takes me back to attracting more revenue to the club. If we have this money, we're not going to eat it. Government has promised to support us on the stadium, but now, what about the money you're getting through these other collections, these other avenues? Try to work on the welfare of the players, improve their pay. Okay, you may not make it to $10,000, at least get to $5,000. If you can get to $5,000, then I'm very sure you'll have a stable team of players who can be able to continue with the club, you call it culture. And image for at least some long period of time. Then if we can achieve that, we are good to go. Then secondly, numeration comes along with promoting youth talent. If you have quite as many players at your disposal, players who can really come handy to generate revenue for the club, then dispose of the surplus. You don't have to tap into the little resource that you have. Have as many, the way I mean put it, groom as many, so that you have a wide spectrum from which to pick on and which to select. And if you can have that, then you'll have a leverage to dispose of as many, while retaining the good talent. I'm sure we shall strike a balance going forward. It's not easy, but of course with your support also, Moses. You're a youth, I'm sure.
Definitely, I am.
We shall get there.
Quite interesting about the player welfare there, because I think, if that is enhanced better, it's not bad, but if it's even made better, that's quite very interesting among the things that you say. I will focus now on the brand visibility and also the kind of image KCCA FC has. Currently, KCCA FC is the most successful football club in Uganda. 32 trophies, 13 Uganda Premier League titles, 10 Uganda Cups, 6 Super Cups, 2 Sekafa Clubs Cup. This is a regional competition. 1 Super 8 trophy and also 1 Nkurunziza Cup. Those are major titles, 32. No other football club in Uganda has got as many trophies. And definitely when you also look at the kind of the following the football club has on all platforms, it's the most followed sports entity or club. Obviously, get FUFA out of this. After FUFA, any other sports entity, be it a federation or football club in this country, the most followed. That means there's been something done, especially to do with the numbers. But then how can that be made even better to get to the international scene? The club is going to participate in CAF. And also speaking about that, when you get to talk about the following the football club has, it has got something to do with the funds. Currently, the funds have got, the funds executive tenure is done. I'm quite sure their interest should be now to get the new leadership on board. That is the whole electoral process and all that. As the new board, I know this will also have the management get involved in this. How do you make sure the funds have got a leadership that is even more vibrant than the one before? Sure. And also the different aspects that they have in the funds leadership, like you talked about funds membership earlier on, a season ticket, and also, all these other things that really help out in how funds really run and the activities. So the funds leadership and also how the fan base can also be enhanced and got a little bit better, plus also the visibility and the brand of the football club.
Thank you, Moses. So many questions in one, eh? Yeah. But to begin with the last one, it is key and really key for the success of any club. Brand visibility is something of essence. You can't avoid it. You can't put it under the carpet. Indeed, that is the biggest challenge we are going to embark on as a board. Club visibility. Club visibility comes along with so many things, and it's going to require a concerted effort. This cannot be an issue for the board alone. The fans have to come on board, all stakeholders have to be brought on board. It's going to be a concerted effort because a successful club to sustain its brand requires a lot of input. The fan base is key here. And of course, what we want, like I told you, is organize the fans. Organize them in such a way that the leadership is stable, they have no squibbles there, they are supporting and promoting the club, they love their club, they buy the souvenirs, they bring in the money. Not only they get collection, we need to get to levels like the Barcelonas, where you have fans queuing to support a club, really. We should deviate from a situation where fans want to reap from the club. We need to see how do we promote this? How do we strike a balance with the fans? Because the fans are the club. KCCA as a team can survive without anything because it's government owned anyway. But there's no team that will be will sustain its brand at the helm of any competition without fans. So if we can enhance this by bringing them together, enhancing communication between the board and the fans, trust me, our brand is going to be really sustained up there. Secondly, I mentioned earlier, we need to work with our financial partners. People who are promoting us, especially the donors, the sponsors who come in to bring in the money to the club. These play a pivotal role. If you can have the funds and the sponsors on board, then our sole responsibility is to promote the culture of the club as a board internationally. If we can win the games up there, you guys in the media houses, you know how to do it better. We have to make sure that we facilitate you as a club to promote us internationally. We need to promote KCC as a brand, not only on the pitch, but even in its outlook out there. For instance, how do you get the players to buy the jerseys? How do you get the players to buy the souvenirs? Can you put incentives for people to come and watch the games? At various levels, schools. For instance, you can put promotions in schools and say, if you do this, you're going to come and watch games for us. In the corporate world today, much as we're a club, how do we reach out to those corporate people, entities, and make sure we have a VIP treat that can really support the club? We give them incentives to come and watch our players, come and watch our games, and we see that we move together as a team. Of course, people also need to benefit from the club. We're going to look into how we can enhance the financial capabilities of the fan base. Can you create them a circle, for instance, the fans? Because through their circle, they can raise money, which money can enable them come and watch the games, or buy small television sets and watch the games with our media houses and keep appraising them with the progress. So it's going to be a concerted effort to maintain the brand of the club, and I call upon every fan, every football lover in Uganda, even those that don't support KCCA. This is the time now to come and support the club, especially now that we are going for continental soccer. Because now it is Uganda. It's not KCCA. Absolutely. It's Uganda, because our colleagues Vipers were knocked off. Now it is us. Our women's team was knocked off. So now I'm calling upon everybody to come, other clubs, our competitors, so that we are one. Come, we watch the matches, we watch the game, and we promote KCCA at the international scene, because now they're carrying the flag of Uganda.
Definitely carrying the flag of Uganda. As we get to the penultimate question of this interview, KCCA FC 4 years has not won the Uganda Premier League. Very disturbing, I should say. I shouldn't actually be telling this, but I need to. 4 years not won the Uganda Premier League, then 5 years not playing in the group stages of CAF. This month, the club has got a chance to get back to the group stages of CAF. And also this season, according to how the club has strengthened, has got the chance to win the 14th Uganda Premier League title, according to at least how the club has really strengthened. Your thoughts on the club getting back to winning ways, and how it will be very key and important for your new leadership?
5 years of no trophy is really unfortunate. I really commend my predecessors. I wouldn't say they don't do much, because as I've been following the club activities, these years have been basically for building capacity. KCCA has brought on board a new coach, foreign coach moreover, who I'm sure has come in to strengthen and build capacity. KCCA as a club has recruited 9 international foreign players who have come to enhance our squad. 7 players, sorry, thanks for the correction. KCCA as a team, basically we may not have achieved much in the 4 years, but the capacity that we have built in these 4 years without a trophy, trust me, is going to take us to another level. And that's why I commend the previous board, that they really invested much into this. Getting a foreign coach is one of the few avenues that are going to help us to focus a little further off the local scene by going to the international stages. So I'm looking at our club, KCCA, as really going to achieve a lot this season. This season is ours. Trust me, with our support, we're going to take it. Trust me, at continental stage, we're going to compete favorably because we want to go to the group stages, and we must make sure we propel the club further to where the real money is, up there. I think with the strategies laid forth by the previous board, we are going to continue. We're going to allow that continuity, and we are going to compete favorably in that aspect.
Fantastic. As we get to the final part of this interview, Chairman, you're going to look straight into that camera and give your parting shots, especially your message. 1, to the fans, very big stakeholders of the football club, to the sponsors, and those are the sponsors I've talked about: Chint Electric, MTN, Britam Insurance, Blink Logistics, Century Cinema, our partners, and straight into that camera. And also a message to the players of KCCA, that technical team, in that camera.
Thank you very much.
Straight here.
I'll begin with a message to the fans. Dear colleagues, football lovers in Uganda, KCC fans and non-KCCA fans, we are here as the new leadership of the club. All we need is your support. All we need is your support. Be part of building the club. Let's forget about negative criticism. Let's have positive criticism. And lastly, I want to urge the fans in Uganda, especially KCC fans, let's minimize the negative energy. It has been too much, and it has costed the club before. There's been so many squabbles, conflicts in the club, especially in the fans, about the management, about the board, about the player retention, about this and that. Let's work as a team to foster development in the club. We have come to offer leadership in our tenure, and management has entrusted us. We're going to look for the resources. We're going to look for the technical support that we need to propel our players. All I need from the football fans of KCCA is your support. Be together, be one, enhance your leadership so that eventually we can have your leadership being represented at the board right from the grassroots. That is my word to the fans. My word to the sponsors, you've mentioned the sponsors. First of all, I want to thank them for being part of the greatest team in Uganda. Thank you, and thank you a bunch. We are going to call upon you to get us more resources into the club. Me and my board, we pledge our support to improve on the fan base so that you can also achieve. If we win the games, if we do what, and enhance cohesion in the club, we are sure you are going to benefit and you'll get value for your money. I call upon other sponsors, many of other sponsors, because there are many sponsors out there who are willing to support the brand. The KCCA brand is going to be a force to reckon with. And this is the time you get on board, because if you miss out today, then never. But I want to thank you for the support you've given to the club. Before I get to the board, the players, I want to thank the players. They have put up a spirited fight. I watched the previous games they played, and I think now we've achieved the critical mass that we need in the club. We know it very well as a board. Your remuneration is not the best. The welfare is not the best. But we're doing our best to make sure you can have the best. We've done a comparison in the region. We've benchmarked with other countries, and we are doing very badly as a country. But we are going to do whatever is within our means to make sure you get the best out of us. We're going to make sure we do the best as a board to attract revenue to the club, and players are going to be priority. All I need from the players is results and performance. Kindly, we urge you to play as a team, maintain cohesion, and I'm sure the sky is going to be the limit for the club. Moses, Me and our board, personally I am new. It's my first time to be on the board. But I have colleagues who have been on the board for 7 years, like Ashaba and many others, who have a wealth of experience. On the board, we also have ex-players who have been exposed to the international levels. We have Jackson Mayanja, we have Tom Luanga, who have come to give us technical support in the field of the football game. We have myself, who's a professional engineer. I'm also coming on board with a wealth of experience, especially in the field of engineering, and we want to pull off that stadium. We're going to build the stadium. I have other colleagues who have come on board with a wealth of experience in finance and management of human resource. We even have audit on board. Joseph Chirimani, you know him. He has been on the previous board. Ivan Kiria has also been on the previous board, coming on the scene with a wealth of experience. We've got commitment from government and management of KCCA to support us. And they are willing to support us to make sure we deliver. We have pledged to the Lord Mayor, who is our patron, and the fans, that our contract is performance-based. And we are going to make sure we have our contracts renewed after you yourselves appreciating the results of our services. I call upon you to support us in our tenure, and I want to thank all of you for supporting us. The support we have got is enormous from the fans, from our friends, and the leadership of KCCA. We want to thank you that, for all that you've done for us. We call upon FUFA as well, the FUFA executive, my colleague Engineer Moses, and your executive. We are going to work as a team and want to work as a team to promote the game in Uganda. For all soccer lovers in Uganda, KCCA is the team to be. Kindly be part of history. We are now going to make real history. And William, Sam, may his soul rest in peace, who started the club in 1963, I'm sure will celebrate down there with his colleagues as we take his vision to the higher level. I thank you, and I want to thank you. Asante sana. To God be the glory. Together we build KCCA.